So let's talk about tile layout and some of the important considerations you need to take into account when you're planning how do you want your tile to be laid out. All right, so let me show you some examples here. This is just a quick overview, but to give you some ideas of what you should think about when you're laying out your tile. Here you can see that we have the tile is starting from a full tile on this side, and then the cut piece ends up there, which basically means it's underneath the toilet. Now, when we do this back wall here, we're actually going to have the tile be centered. Now, why do we not just match that center coming down? That is definitely an option. But what that would cause is actually would cause a little bit more waste because we'd have two cut tiles. Sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you can't, but it'll probably end up with more waste. But also, when we look at the room, because the tub differentiates between the floor, the tub, and the wall, the grout lines aren't really going to line up. So it doesn't matter. And what we would prefer to have is have the full tiles in the area where you're walking and you'll be using it, and have the cuts hidden by the cabinetry and the toilet. Now, let me give you another option over here. So here we're actually in the master ensuite. Now, if you look here, we actually have a seamless curb here. So this is going to be curbless. The tile is going to run into the bathroom. So what we've done here is we actually have the tile centered, and it's going to go along here centered through the drain and then go up the wall as a center. The reason we're doing that there is because we don't have any break between the floor tile and the wall tile. So we want to try to make it as seamless as possible. So those are some of the considerations you want to take into account. Like, what's it going to look like when it's finished? Is there a way to have a little bit of tile savings, And it's not even always about tile savings. It's like, what's the best look when it's finished? Because if I go back to this one here, if we had centered this tile here, we would have ended up with a short little cut piece right along this side. And when you open the door, I don't want to see that cut piece. I want to see a full tile. Okay, so that's why we did this. And here, another thing here is I can actually show you, this is the laundry. Now, this is going to get covered with a machine. You're not going to even see this tile. So basically what we use is we used one full tile in the front edge where you're going to see it the most. And in the back, we used the cut tiles because there's no reason not to. There would be zero benefit for us like making all those tiles perfect and squaring everything off. Make a long video short. When you're doing your tile, think about the end purpose. Think about how it's going to look once the cabinetry and the toilet's in. You want to take all that into consideration and make sure you have that conversation with your tiler prior to ordering your tile, because depending on where you put the cuts, you could end up needing more or less material.